Hey friends, welcome to Chine Coaching. In this video, we're going to compare and contrast the TOEFL test and the IELTS test. These are both different English proficiency exams to study abroad around the world. And we're going to give you the compare and contrast of both of these to help you decide which is the best one you need to take for your study abroad experience, especially here in America. Join us in this video. All right, friends, thanks so much. This is going to be a really fun video. We've got two students here from the University of Texas at Arlington, one who's taken TOEFL and one who's taken the IELTS. They're going to give you their thoughts, their experience to help you choose which one is best for you in your journey. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hi, I'm Nischith and I'm studying my Master's in Computer Science at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Hi, I'm Divyanshu Sharma. I'm from New Delhi, India, and at UTA, I'm pursuing MSHRM and MBA Human Resources.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for your help today. And go ahead and just tell them which test you guys took and what that was kind of like.
So I've taken the IELTS and it was a pretty easy test for me because I was reading newspapers and books and novels. I was a huge bookworm since I was a kid. So the IELTS basically doesn't really think too much or make you want to do academic reading. So it expects that you have a general knowledge of English and you understand when you're being spoken to and you understand. You watch a lot of serials, you do well in the IELTS. That's basically how it works.
TOEFL reading, on the other hand, is different because you read academic paragraphs in TOEFL. And it depends upon whether you get an experimental section in TOEFL reading or not. You might get like 4 paragraphs in TOEFL and all would be academic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So you guys have a few important comparisons and contrasts for us on these two different tests and exams. Yeah, go ahead and share them with our friends.
I think the first difference between these two tests would be the costs, because the IELTS will cost anywhere between $215 to $240 depending on where you're taking the test.
Mm-hmm. TOEFL is $200.
Yeah.
The last time when I took TOEFL, it was $200.
So TOEFL is a little bit cheaper.
Yes, because IELTS is like a 2-day process sometimes, and like you said, that it could be done in like a day as well. But then TOEFL is just like you're there in front of the computer, so there you're paying the cost of like talking to a real person, I would say. So that's why IELTS is expensive.
So I think adding on to that point, the one reason why IELTS is expensive is the reason that you're talking to an actual person, and that is also the reason why you might want to choose IELTS, because I myself am not very comfortable speaking in front of a computer, or a camera for that matter. So I try to speak to normal people, and the person who's interviewing you will actually try to make you feel comfortable, he'll ask you questions like who are you, where are you from, what is your name. So it just makes you feel a little more comfortable.
Get the personal touch.
Yeah.
In TOEFL speaking, you would just like in the beginning of the exam, they would ask you to speak on any random topic, and that'll not be scored, but just to test your audio. So there's lack of personal touch in TOEFL, I would say. So just in case if a person is not comfortable, they would not kind of like make you calm down or something. So there's a lack of personal touch. So you would just speak in the beginning of the test to record your audio, and if it's okay or not, or if your microphone is working or not. Just in case if it's not, then you would have to inform the people who are there over there.
Another difference that between these two exams would be the test order. Say for example, in the IELTS, we'll have the listening section first, and then the reading section, and then we'll have the writing section. But you will not have a break between these two sections. You might have a minute or two between one section and the other, but that is just for you to just relax and stretch out and start thinking about the next section rather than to relax or go out and drink water.
TOEFL, on the other hand, you would have to do your reading and your listening, and then after that there'll be a 10-minute mandatory break. And you do not get a choice of whether you want to like take that break or not, just like we have in GRE, wherein you can take the break, or if you want to like carry on, you can do that as well. But in TOEFL, you have to take the break. Like I said in the previous video, sometimes there would be centers who would allow you to go out, and there'll be centers who will be like, okay, you can be there and wait for 10 minutes to get over. So when we were discussing about the strategies, you can take advantage of the break, and you can kind of like find out what the person who is sitting beside you is talking about, because your speaking section would be very similar. But yes, there's a 10 minutes mandatory break after doing reading and listening.
Before we continue, we've also made some other videos about TOEFL and some big updates about the TOEFL test.
Yes.
And so be sure to check out Divyanshu's video. We'll have the link above and below for you guys about the big updates and changes on TOEFL. You don't want to miss that. So what's the next big difference?
The next big difference is that IELTS is offered only in a few countries. So if you live in a country that does not offer IELTS, you don't really have any other chance other than taking TOEFL.
TOEFL, on the other hand, is offered worldwide. And before choosing between these two exams, you would have to figure out where do you want to study. So if you want to study in American universities, they would prefer TOEFL over IELTS, and it's preferred more in America. There's a minimum score limit as well, which varies because the scoring scales is different when we talk about TOEFL and IELTS. So TOEFL is scored on the basis of 120. So every section, reading, listening, speaking, and writing, is 30 points each. In total, you have 120 points, and anything above 100 plus is considered to be a good score.
So
IELTS, on the other hand,
in the IELTS, you have a band score between 1 and 9. So if you are anywhere around a 7 and all of your section scores are greater than a 6.5 or a 7, you should be good, because most of the colleges in the US, they need a score greater than 6.5 in all sections. So say, for example, if you have a 9 in listening and a 9 in reading, but you kind of screwed up and got a 6 in writing, you might want to retake the test. So that is one thing that is independent to the IELTS.
Also, there's like a minimum score sometimes for one section that your university might prefer. So that's why when you're figuring out like which universities I have to apply to, just kind of like go to their website and they would have a minimum TOEFL score. On an average, every American university needs a 79 on your TOEFL out of 120. But if you have got 100 plus, that is a really good score in TOEFL, and you can use that to apply. For speaking, there's a minimum cutoff for 27, at least in UTA, if you want to apply for grad assistantship. I remember when I was offered my grad assistantship, I was asked my TOEFL score, and they told me that if my TOEFL score is less than 27 out of 30, then I would have to take it again. So because when you're a teaching assistant, you are also like sometimes an assistant instructor in few courses. So when the professor is not there, you would have to teach those courses. So you would have to read the content of that course and listen to the questions that the students are asking, do some writing, and do a lot of speaking for sure. That's why more preference is given to that. So make sure that when you're doing the speaking section, you're doing it like very, very carefully. At the same time, do not get nervous about it. We have 4 questions, like we discussed in our previous video, which we have made. There are 4 questions in speaking section, and they have reduced down on the independent questions. So it'll not be like very spontaneous. That spontaneous question will only be 1 instead of 2, which were there previously in the old TOEFL.
Now, real quick before the next difference, we're going to give our chai question. So for you guys who are watching, which one are you going to probably take? Do you think you'll take the TOEFL or the IELTS? So go ahead and comment below. Let us know which one you're going to prefer for wherever you want to study. Let us know if it's going to be the TOEFL or the IELTS in the comments. All right, guys, so what's the next difference?
I think another important thing that we have to mention is just go to the website of the colleges that you're applying to, make a list of the colleges and check if they accept the IELTS before actually registering for the exam, because a few of the colleges that you want to go to might not accept the IELTS. It's not as widely accepted as the TOEFL. So I think that is one thing we should consider first before even starting your preparation.
I think another big difference is that from August 2019, ETS has made this change in TOEFL where you have the My Best TOEFL, wherein if you take the TOEFL again, you would have your best score from that TOEFL till all the time that you have taken the exam. IELTS, on the other hand, I do not believe that there's something called as My Best IELTS.
No, I don't think they have anything like that. You just need to retake the entire exam again, and that score will be considered.
Yeah, so IELTS is more costly, and then we would not have My Best IELTS. So yeah, that's a risk to take.
But it's an easier exam.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are the things people need to consider in deciding between which one?
I think there's a difference in the accents, the kind of accents that you would hear in listening. In IELTS, you would, if I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, please, you would hear British English and a mixture of like different bunch of accents.
It's not just one accent that you'll hear in IELTS, but I think in TOEFL, it's just if you hear a British accent, both the people, or if there's a conversation or a monologue, it will be entirely the same accent.
I have only heard American accent in TOEFL.
Okay.
Yeah, I've taken it twice. One before, like when I was preparing for my master's application, and one for my doctorate, and it was all American English, just very, very comprehensible.
But in the IELTS, what I had was a mixed bag of accents.
Okay.
So I had a British accent and an American accent in the same task. So there might be a mixture of accents. So if you're comfortable with that, I think IELTS is all right. But if you're not comfortable mixing accents, or if you're not comfortable with British or New Zealand accents of English, you might want to look into TOEFL.
And before like making the decision, you can also like do sample test for TOEFL and sample test for IELTS. Sample listening, test for both the patterns. And just in case if you feel like, okay, that is one accent that I'm not very comfortable with in understanding, and it requires a lot of thought process to kind of like figure out what the professor is saying and to kind of like make down notes and then make sense out of the conversation, then you can take the other one. So take a sample test and figure it out yourself.
Another difference that we have to mention is in the writing test. So in the writing test, the IELTS will have a lot of varieties of questions. It's not just one type of question. We'll have fill up the blanks, you'll have fill up the passage, you'll have to write your own passage, and you'll even have match the following sometimes. So you'll have a variety of questions, and you cannot just restrict it to one type. So if you are comfortable answering all type of questions, and if you just want one type of question, you might want to look into the TOEFL.
So TOEFL is an integrated writing. So there are 2 writing tasks that you would have to do. In the integrated writing, you would read a paragraph first, and then you would hear a professor talking about the same topic. He can agree to that topic or disagree to that topic, and then you would have to write a paragraph on that. Like what were the major differences between the writing that you just read and the professor talking. So that is one thing. And there's another one called as independent writing, wherein they would just throw in a topic. Like when I gave my TOEFL exam, I was asked, is formal management education or MBA necessary in order to be a successful entrepreneur? So you can either agree or disagree, or have like a mixed bunch of opinion if you have a conclusion in the end which states that you have more preference towards one side. So do not like talk for both sides. So yeah, that's the difference.
Any other final tips that you guys want to share as people make this big decision on their journey to study abroad?
Just take it easy, have fun on the journey. It's going to be fun even when you get here. So start having fun while you are there. It's just a fun process. Enjoy it. Don't take too much of stress.
It's a long process. So do not lose patience. You have to take your GRE. You might not get a good score. You would have to wait again. You would have to take your TOEFL, and then you have to reach out to the professors for LORs and write your SOP, the story of your life, as they say. So it's a long process, And after that, it's not guaranteed that you would get an admit from your dream college. So it's a lot of patience that you would have to put in, a lot of money that you would have to invest in. Do not invest a lot of money till the time you're sure that, okay, I want to go to America. I have made this decision and I want to study in America. If you're kind of like confused about it and you do not feel very passionate about it at the moment, then it does not make sense to, spend that much money. Like we said, the cost is different, like $200 just to take the exam. There is application cost as well and all of that. So if you're really passionate about it, if you've figured out that, that's what I have to do, next 2 years of my life, I have to be in America and I want to study. I don't want to do my master's in America, then just go for it, and good luck for your exams.
Don't forget to check our playlist. We've got the whole How to Study Abroad in America from beginning to end that we're working on right now. Lots of great videos. They're going to walk you from the very beginning to once you arrive here. So be sure to check that out. And thanks so much again, Nischith and Divyanshu. You guys did a great job. Be sure to give them a big like on this video, since I know it's going to be really helpful for you. And be sure to subscribe and connect with us on China Coaching. We want to stay in touch. I hope you guys succeed in your journey here in America. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time at China Coaching. Cheers.